So, this is a video that isn't gonna go the way a lot of people think. I am currently just on the way to Boyneside to train some clients, and this is something that I've been thinking about doing for the last while, and mainly not because I think I can help anybody, because this isn't what this really is, but more because I see a lot of these videos and people like that have sponsorships and trying to offer help, and it is a big question, and a lot of people that are involved in the industry or who train or compete are very curious on how to get sponsorship. I've heard people even kind of going like, I don't have a sponsorship anymore, which is kind of funny, and was kind of what makes this point. I got let go from my previous sponsor at the start of the year, really, and I'll delve more into that. That's the story that kind of is going to make this point, really. But surely I'd be the last guy that you go to for advice about. But I've had people ask me since then, because I have no sponsorship. I've pursued one or two options that I thought might have been a thing that I could have done, but I've had people kind of go like, why aren't you sponsored by a supplement company? Like, why isn't that a thing that you're doing? And as much as I can kind of understand where people are coming from, I can't understand where these people are coming from, because it's not the end of the fucking world, because it's not the be all and end all. Like, having a sponsorship isn't really that big of a deal. Don't get me wrong, my previous sponsor were a very prestigious brand, and it was an honor to be sponsored by them and associated with such a good name that I'd actually honestly used their products far before the time I'd ever gained sponsorship by them. But the reason I'm sending this video isn't because I'm here to help you get a sponsorship. I'm not going to give you the advice on how to get a sponsorship, because it's not that complex. I feel like a lot of people make this out to be a bigger deal than it is, but the real short and simple of it all is, it's not that big of a fucking deal. Sponsorship aren't what they seem to be, and that's kind of where my story starts. Like, I was sponsored by my previous sponsor for about 3 or 4 years, and to be honest with you, it was kind of just a name on a resume. It wasn't all that great. I didn't always, I got a monthly amount of stuff, and initially that was dictated off how many sampling sessions I did, which again involved me taking time out of my life to go and sit in the shop corner and tell people how great these products were and give them information on them, and basically do the shop teller's job, where I basically try to sell for this company, or indirectly for this company and for that shop that I was in that day. And okay, they reimbursed me for all my travel expenses and all that stuff, but I still took time out of my life to do something that I didn't really want to do, because at the end of the day, I would quite frankly much rather just get supplements for being the person that I am, and getting the trust that people will think Cav would know what he's on about, and therefore buy our products. But it wasn't really all that great. It was a lot more smoke and mirrors online than a lot of people would see. I didn't always get my supplements on time. There was times, from October to the time it got dropped, I got 1 box, and that wasn't from a lack of ordering, that was from a lack of delivery. But I didn't kick up a fuss about it, because I'm not a dickhead, so I'm not gonna fucking whine and throw me toys out of pram just because nobody delivered my protein to me, but anyway, I basically got a call at the start of the year, some point in the start of the year in January, to say that budget cuts had been made in the company, and I was one of them. They wanted an athlete in every major city in the country, and they had one in Belfast, they had one in Dublin, and they wanted one in Cork, but they basically couldn't afford an athlete in Cork when I was still there, when I wasn't really all that. Geographically, it just didn't make sense. So I was dropped because the company couldn't afford me, basically, in a nutshell. Now, that's fair enough, and that's whatever, but what had happened from that point was I was offered a severance package of a lot of supplements. I could make whatever size order I wanted, and if I was ever stuck along the way that they'd help me out. That raises a red flag, in the sense that if you're trying to make budget cuts and you're trying to cut back on money, why are you willing to send me more stock? Okay, so that's whatever, that's one thing. Then time passed, and then that particular supplement company sponsored an athlete who I'm not going to mention or say what they were for, in Dublin. So another red flag. You said you wanted someone in Cork and you couldn't afford it when I was there. What's the deal? Why did you take me out and put another guy in? You know, it's ridiculous, really. Like, it's, again, you know, my point of it doesn't make that big of a deal. Like, I got dropped from my sponsors and nothing changed. My income didn't change, friends and family, and, you know, my relationships with my girlfriend, all that, none of that changed. I didn't gain money, didn't lose money. Everything just kept going, you know, because at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, you know. I got a lot less free stuff, which isn't great, but, you know, again, who fucking really cares? It's not the be all and end all of all this shit, because this isn't why I compete. This isn't why I got my sponsorship in the first place, you know. I just, you know, I had my sponsorship and I liked it, and, you know, it's kind of shit that it's gone, but again, not the end of the world. The sun is the worst right now. But yeah, you know, all these people think it's a big deal, and that, you know, oh, you know, you get sponsored by some company, great, you get all this free stuff. A lot of the time, and I can tell now because I know not enough people in the fitness industry, well, in Ireland anyway, to know that these things aren't as good as they seem. And just if you're a person that wants to change who you are, just to be picked up by a supplement company and kind of promote yourself differently on social media, that's your business. That's not something I would generally recommend or think you should be doing, because at the end of the day, you should be yourself in that kind of situation, and you should always be yourself and represent yourself as who you are, and no matter what the reason for. And if people like that, then people like that, and you know you'll get sponsorships from that and blah blah blah. But if you don't, you're not that type of person. It's not the end of the world. Maybe something will come up in time. But if it's a thing where you want a sponsorship yesterday, then be someone else, or try and emulate someone else and then be that guy. But that's not something that I think people should be doing. And if it's a thing that you want to go out and try and pursue someone, go for someone that you have a discount code, where if you think that you have a good enough following or enough people that will listen to you to use your discount code and show that company that you are an actual valuable asset, then do that. If you feel like you're someone that can prove yourself to a company, then do that. Pick up someone that will give you a discount code and then you can work off. Give to people will buy their stuff with your discount code, and that company will then realize that you're a good valuable asset to have. Or basically try and get as much as you can for as little as possible. Don't be the person that has to fucking give up their Saturday to go and sit in the shop and tell people how great a protein powder is. Unless it's something that you really want to do, I can guarantee you get very, very sick of it very, very fast. The one on big events, you know, here and there, I've done ones with Flex Lewis. I've done body power events, not for that previous sponsor, but I've done body power events. That's different. That's fun, and you meet great people. Not saying that you don't meet great people at sampling events, but to go into a discount supplements on a random Saturday, and you're not going to meet a lot of, you will meet some good people, but you won't really actually interact with that many people. You know, so just basically, it's something that I've been asked a lot on, and I just thought I try to do a short video, but that obviously isn't going to happen because I waffle. But I think it's something that people have to be wary of, that, you know, a lot of it is smoke and mirror, and I see a lot of sponsorships and sponsored athletes out there now today that are basically they're kind of giving you the smoke and mirrors, you know. And there's a good few out there that have a very good deal and do have a very good deal, and, you know, I'm happy for them. But I think a lot of people need to just realize that these things aren't the end of the world, and they don't make that big of a deal, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had a few offers, and I have a few offers, and I have a few potential companies that I might work with in the future, and I will be happy to do that. I'm not saying I'm dissing the whole sponsorship game, or, you know, I don't want to say in saying that it's not that big of a deal, that I won't do it. I don't want to contradict myself, because I will. It's something I will do, and something I will do again and pursue again. Because again, it's a chance to meet new people and grow your name. And that's the thing as well. You make sure you go with a brand that can grow your name. You know, if you're pretty well known in Ireland, there's not much use being sponsored by a company that's just in Ireland, unless they're going to branch out and you're going to be a part of that plan, and that's good. But Aim for someone that's in the UK and work your way around the UK. And maybe they might branch out into the US, then you branch out into the US. And so on and so forth, because that's what it's all about. It's about promoting yourself and what you can give that company in return for them promoting you. So you want to be promoted as much as you want to promote them, basically. So I hope that makes sense. This is just kind of one of these rants that I'm a few more of these going. I have a few of these that clock up in my head that I think will help a few people. So if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and hit me up with more ideas on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter.